In the late 90s, the hottest comic duo was no doubt Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Together, they charted a unique path to stardom. Two University of Colorado grads, the two had their beginnings in the early 90s when they made the micro-budget indie called Cannibal, the musical, which, despite failing to get into the Sundance Film Festival, became kind of a calling card for them.
Dude!
It got them a unique job directing a corporate film about Universal Pictures for Seagrams, who were in the process of acquiring the company, thanks to the patronage of one David Zucker, one of the directors behind The Naked Gun, Top Secret, and Airplane, who was a fan of Cannibal the Musical. They parlayed their success into a low-budget comedy called Orgasmo, which starred Parker as a pornographic superhero, and it was a hit at TIFF, and it was acquired for $1 million by October Films, which was a pretty big indie company at the time, but they were not able to release it widely when it got slapped with an NC-17.
Just great.
Which is funny, because if you watch Orgasmo now, it's actually fairly tame.
I'm so badly wanting it.
Oh my gosh!
Around this time, they also produced a short film called The Spirit of Christmas, which was about Jesus finding Santa Claus, and featured a couple of interesting foul-mouthed kids that would later be known to the world as the South Park Gang. It happened to come along in the early days of the internet, meaning it was one of the first shorts to ever go viral. Indeed, I remember taking hours to download it with one of the earliest versions of QuickTime and watching the highly pixelated short over and over again. It led to them getting a deal to produce a little show that you just might have heard of called South Park. And the rest is history. Yet there's a forgotten chapter in the saga of Matt and Trey. In between South Park's early success and their big screen hit, South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, which gave them legit critical respectability and an Oscar nomination, the pair starred in a movie for their old patron David Zucker, BASEketball.
It's a BASEketball. Whoa, dude, you made a ball?
It remains the only project the two have ever acted in that they didn't write, direct, or produce themselves, and it was a major box office flop that's become unfairly obscure over the years.
Beers are ice cold. Oh man.
But if you grew up in the late 90s and like South Park, chances are you saw it when it hit video, and probably more than once too.
I love kids. Which one's Travis? Here, heads up, big guy.
You see, once upon a time we had a place called video stores, where people would come in, rent these things called videotapes, watch them, and then return them the next day. Or, well, that was the hope anyway. As having worked at a video store, this movie, along with a couple other films like Half-Baked and Mallrats, would become one of the most MIA titles ever, as the stoners who rented them often forgot to return them, and, well, couldn't find it when we called them to ask it where it was.
I'm giving her all I've got, Captain. I love ya. Always have.
So, what's the deal with BASEketball? And what does the title even mean? Well, obviously, it's about a sport that's a mixture between baseball and basketball, albeit with a liberal dose of humiliation worked in and very little physical prowess needed.
Fucked your sister. Huh?
It was actually a game that David Zucker himself invented and played with his friends, and that he once tried to turn into a TV series. Indeed, a BASEketball pilot starring Chris Rock exists, yet it's never surfaced. It was originally designed as a Chris Farley comedy before Zucker got the idea to cast his two young protégés in the lead. Indeed, Orgasmo was becoming a cult hit, and South Park got Matt and Trey on magazine covers, giving them a pretty hefty dose of fame. They were the hot, new young names in comedy. Neither Matt had any illusions about lasting, though, so they actually took on the film thinking South Park would be cancelled by the time they started filming. 26 years later, it's still on the air. As such, they filmed this movie during the day and made new South Park episodes at night, some of their funniest ever, actually.
Jenna, Thanks a lot, Dr. Dickhead. You totally fucked me there.
And indeed, Matt and Trey never starred in a live-action movie again, although punishing schedules would become a mainstay for the duo, with them making films like Team America and even a Broadway show, The Book of Mormon, while still producing South Park. Both would be major hits, which this would not.
All part of the great fall lineup on our networks. Who gives a rat's ass Thursdays?
So as opposed to their more ambitious work on their own, BASEketball was never intended to be much more than a standard racy comedy. But it's worth saying that the film is actually pretty funny.
Oh, one of Brittany's mom's pubic hairs. Oh, God.
Many of the jokes fall flat, but Matt and Trey do a great job delivering the insults and one-liners they use to psych out players, with their friend Diane Bashar playing the butt of many of their jokes named Squeak.
I don't even know why I hang out with you guys.
Because you're a piece of shit.
I am not a piece of shit.
Well, yeah, but you're a little bitch.
A movie like BASEketball, it's probably a little too crude to ever get made now, but we've lost something. All the inappropriate jokes in the movie still make me laugh, and Matt and Trey have an innocence about them, and it's worth noting that whenever they're on screen, it's pretty funny. Whenever they're off screen, it's not that good. Luckily, they're on screen a lot. Another very appealing thing about this film, especially to 18-year-old Chris when this came out, was the fact that it co-starred two of the biggest sex symbols of the 90s.
Anyway, would you mind signing these?
Sure. Oh.
And no, I'm not talking about Robert Vaughn and Ernest Borgnine. Jenny McCarthy and Yasmin Bleeth co-star, and boy, do they look good. McCarthy was a rising star on MTV and in Playboy, which I owned a couple of copies of, and at the time Bleeth was in the middle of her run on Baywatch. And yeah, old pros Robert Vaughn from The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and Ernest Borgnine classed it up a bit, but I'm not sure whose idea it was to have Borgnine do a striptease to Right Said Fred's I'm Too Sexy. That scene could have maybe gone to McCarthy, right? Anyone? Predictably, reviews for BASEketball were pretty poor, but if you were a teen at the time and rented the tape, as I did, you probably liked it. Considering how popular of a title it's been for Universal in the years since it came out, you'd think it would have gotten a big re-release with some extras, but I suppose it's a movie that Matt and Trey want to leave in their rearview mirror, and one can't say that they aren't keeping busy, that's for sure. But if you want some lewd and crude laughs, 90s style, I'd give it a watch.
I want to feel you deep inside me.
Oh!